What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are finally going to be installing the first mods onto the YFZ. I have been putting it off a little bit because I was kind of waiting for everything to show up, but the exhaust is still out of ways. I think they had like a 3 or 4 week lead time on it. I ordered it like 3 weeks ago already, so it should be here maybe the next week or two. I don't really know. Before we get into the video too much, if you're going to order the big three, get a hold of Jay from Illinois Power Sports. I have no way, shape, or form sponsored by him. I didn't get no special discounts. I just genuinely think he's a great guy that will save you a lot of money, because I wish I would have known about him before I ordered everything, because I ordered the ECU through him but not everything else, and he could have saved me at least a couple $100. So with that being said, we're going to be installing two things today. We're going to be installing an hour meter, which should be the first thing you should install to keep track of maintenance, keep track of your hours. This one does read, I think, RPM and some other little things. And then the second thing we're going to do is the ECU. So this is a Vortex ECU I bought through Jay. And I told him what exhaust I was running and what intake. So he was able to actually flash a tune on here already, and then I could try a couple different ones. They got multiple different maps with these. If you guys want to pause and read them, you can. And then there's a bunch of different stuff. And then very detailed instructions on how to install. And then this is just simple. You basically just wrap around a plug wire. So we're going to install this. I got a Fuel Customs intake sitting here that we'll be installing in the next video. I want to keep them separate because I think this might take a while, because it's I heard it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. So I'm having a little trouble deciding where I want to put the hour meter, mainly because I do not want to stick it on the plastics, because this does have those quick attach plastics, which is pretty cool on the YFCs. And by what I mean by quick attach plastics, you can just pull these and they come out. But I'm thinking I might put the hour meter on the frame, kind of like right here. I think that'll be a good spot to put it. Then it isn't on the plastics at all. This wire, which might be a little bit of a pain in the butt, which will be kind of nice in a way. I'll be able to follow this whole thing right up. Kind of what I'm hoping to do is zip tie it right to it so it doesn't rub on anything. That's my big thing. You don't want it to rub on nothing, prod on nothing. So I think this will work out pretty decent down here. Meter's mounted. It does look like it's off this way a ways, but there's because there's a bend in the frame right here, as you probably can see at certain angles. So this is a flat piece. So if it looks like it's off to the side, that's why. And then I ran it up, followed this section of wire. I did put some little zip ties on here, and then wrapped it around a bunch of times, and then threw a little zip tie around here. And then I left this kind of loose in case the fuel tank pushes on it or something. That way it doesn't get ripped off. So we're gonna put the fuel tank back on, and then we're gonna move on to the ECU. Alright, so you have to remove this lower section that covers all this. To remove that, you'll remove these two bolts here, which you can see I just left them in here, and then there's two little tabs on the sides. You spread apart, and then I just set it down. I did remove the fenders to be able to see this a little better, but it's not something you have to do. But then we'll be taking this section here off, which I'm actually going to remove this too. This doesn't need to be on here. And I did remove that bracket so you guys can see a little better, and then plus it doesn't look so dumb, but I am going to keep this because this piece here I will use for a license plate bracket in the future. What you'll be doing is you'll be removing the mounting bracket that holds this old ECU on, and then these two you'll be taking off, zip tying them to the harness, and then this 34 prong connector will be actually getting plugged into the new ECU. So you gotta be really careful with it. You don't want to break it. Just make sure you push on the tab and it should slide right off. These I think I can just push up. No, this one I can. Slide it up. Now it can be zip tied. And then I'm gonna have to use two hands. I'm gonna squeeze this, pop this out, and then I should be able to just unbolt the ECU. And now that the plugs are unplugged, just kind of pull them out of the way. Be careful, do not pull on the wires on actually on any of these. Don't pull on any of the wires. When pulling plugs out, they don't unplug that hard. So now we'll just be pulling these two bolts out, which will remove the bracket. The old ECU is off. So then you'll take your new bracket that came with your new ECU, and you'll put this thing facing up and then bolt it where the old one was. So I'm going to do that quick. So it doesn't say this in the instructions, and I'm not sure if because this Vortex ECU is for a 22 because they didn't come out with the 23s yet. And with mine, with the new bolts, or with the bolts that they took off, they don't fit in here. They actually bottom out. So I'm taking the old bracket, since the new bracket's got the small hole just for the bolt, and the old one's got the big one because it's got these little like rubber bushings in there. I'm removing the rubber bushings in this big like spacer, and then I'm just putting it behind there to act as a spacer so my bolts don't bottom out. So if that is an issue you run into if you have a new one or even on a 22 or older, because like I said, it doesn't say anything in the instructions on this, so I don't know if this is how it's supposed to go, but this is how I am doing it. There's a little information on that if you don't know. Alright, future me here. I want to put this back together later, and we're having some issues of where the ECU is actually hitting this little tray, as you can see. So I can't set the fenders all the way down. What I'm going to try is where those rubber bushings are that we talked about. I'm going to try to put them on the other side of the bolt so that the ECU can get sucked up more. Hopefully that'll work. So with a little bit of finagling, I finally got this. So I'm not sure if they changed this little section here in the 23s, because in the instructions it says you're supposed to be able to adjust these with the plastics on, but as you can see, I can only see 3 of them, not the 4th. So I'm thinking this is different. And I was having a little bit of clearance issues, so what I did is I put these on the outside so this bracket sits tight up against there, and then I actually had to bend this little bracket, this tab that goes on the back of this. I had to bend it so that it fit in here farther without wedging on here. So it took a little bit of trial and error. I had to bend it like 3-4 times until I got it right. But now it fits on there. So now we're going to take the ECU, and it should just go right on that tab. I might need 2 hands with this, maybe not. And just push it down. Now we're going to plug this in, and then we'll zip tie these to the harness like that. Like I said, zip tie these connectors right back to the harness. I did add one on there, and then I did add one around here just to make sure it helped hold it, because it is pulling, the harness is pulling on it a little bit, because it is just held on by this rubber piece. And then you'll reinstall this, and the ECU should be done. We'll see if it starts. So I had to cut the zip ties back off and re-zip tie it over a little bit, because I had the connectors too much over here. I needed to move them more towards the center, kind of tuck them in here to be able to lift this thing back up. But yeah, that's how it sits. I got to tighten the 2 bolts yet, but it's all nice and back on. Everything is tight. The tune is set on 555, which is what I was told to leave it on no matter which tune I try. And I have it set on tune 0, which would be the one that Jay uploaded for me. Even though I don't have that intake and exhaust on, it should be fine. So we're just going to see if it starts. So it should, so see if it'll start. thing is all warmed up. I can't wait to ride this thing because the throttle response, holy shit. Dude, it runs so much better. And it doesn't even have the exhaust or the intake on it yet. That ECU makes the throttle response so much better. I have goosebumps right now. I am so pumped to ride it now. Oh, it runs so much better, like noticeably. It doesn't do the bog, the cutout, or anything when you just touch the throttle like it did before. Hell yeah! Well, there you guys have it. First 2023 Yamaha YFZ 450R mod. That ECU, if you guys don't have the Vortex ECU, go get it. I mean, there's a lot of tunes I can try yet. I'm excited to ride this thing because the throttle response, just sitting here revving it, night and day. Literally night and day. I can't believe that. Now I'm excited for my pipe to come. Well, I'm already excited, but I'm even more excited for the pipe to come to get the intake in because holy shit, that woke it up. You know, I can't even imagine what the power difference is going to be because with the big three with this ECU, the exhaust, and the intake, it's supposed to add right around 10 horse to the wheels, which is a lot on a little machine. So, oh yeah, I can't freaking wait. And it's going to sound so much better when you get a nice my Rossi R5 that I ordered. When I get that on, it sounds so much better. I'm so pumped to ride this thing this spring. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to install the intake next in this next video. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.